All right, guys, let's welcome Brendon Small to new pod here at KNOTFEST.com, Louder Than Life 2023. And once again, man, how are you doing? How's it been going?
I'm doing well. We're about 3 weeks into our tour with Baby Metal, the Babyklok tour, and Jason Richardson.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really fun. It's been really good. Our shows have been really crazy. Really great response from the fans, and we've just been spoiled rotten, so it's been really nice.
Yeah, I've been seeing photos like from every show. It looks like places are packed out and selling well and just overall, man, it seems like people have needed this. You guys coming back out on tour.
That could be true. Yeah, I mean, look, our absence maybe creates a little bit of demand. That could be true. We do have a really fun show. That's I have to say, just like even if we weren't away for a long time, our show's funny and it's brutal and it's it's fun and it's fast and it's intense, and so is Baby Metal. They're so charming and they're so brutal. Their rhythm section is so amazing, and the girls are lovable. You fall in love with them. So it's really been fun touring with them. The audiences have been coming out, which has been really nice. And I don't know, I kind of feel like right now is like we're still kind of coming out of this pandemic, it feels like. So there's something kind of joyful about being out with people again, and that's what I'm feeling, because I've also been sequestered for the last 2.5 years making this movie, making this record, making a soundtrack at the same time, and prepping for this tour. So to me, this is like a vacation.
Oh yeah, just kind of getting out from sitting behind a laptop or a computer and doing all that stuff, and actually getting out and seeing. That's the one thing I guess a lot of TV shows and cartoons and whatnot. Bob's Burgers don't get to do this, but like the whole, you get to go perform in front of thousands of people a night and play festivals and see your fans, people that watch the show.
Absolutely. Yes, that's true. We do get to go make contact with the fan base, which is something you don't get to do in TV. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I've noticed is that, this show started in 2006, and a lot of people were probably 14 or 15 at the time, so they're in their early 30s now. Yeah. And you get to see that what I'm hearing from most of the people is that show turned a lot of people on to heavy metal, which is a really cool thing to hear, and it means something to them. So seeing them come out and see this thing live, which is its own experience, it means a lot to the audience, and therefore it means a great deal to me. So it's really cool.
So Army of the Doomstar, it's out now. Were you kind of how do you get when something like that's being released? Do you get an anxiety that it's about to be released? What are people going to think? Are you checking social media and seeing what people are saying, or are you trying to block all that out?
Well, I mean, there's a certain thing I think you have to kind of as an artist, I guess you have to kind of make peace with what you have, figure out what works, what didn't, and why, and kind of move on, because your own opinions are going to probably mean more than a criticism or even an elated comment or something like that. So I know how I feel about it, and so it is an anxious time. I think it'd be crazy to not have any anxiety about it, but the way that it's been received has been very nice, and we're very happy with how people have felt about the emotional reaction to the thing. Means a lot to a lot of people, so it's been great. And Death Album 4 has been really released nicely, or received nicely, rather. Yeah,
I would assume seeing a Spotify number, it looks nice, but when you actually see that number in front of you and things like that, so you get you get faces, not just numbers, I guess, when you see.
Yeah, I mean, I also, having said that, I kind of stay away from all that. I really do. I think it's better for years ago, in home movies town, when we first put the show out, I remember I got we went and did a big press junket for the Associated Press. Okay. And this is back on UPN, years ago. And we had a telephone book stack of reviews. And I remember reading them afterwards. One of them said, "Hey, this is genius. This is wonderful. This is this is that," singling me out as being funny or intelligent or something. And then the next one was did the exact opposite.
Right.
We don't like this. This is bad. This guy in particular is very bad. And it just counteracted the first one. And then it just kept going back and forth like that. And I thought, if I'm going to be in this business and if I'm going to survive, I have to kind of sort my way through this.
Yeah.
I have to, because I agree with the negative comments, and I also agree with the nice elated comments too. And at this point, there's nothing I can do about the thing. This is my taste that brought me to this place. And if it's working at some point, then it's working. And if it isn't, then I really have to restructure everything,
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a negative comment that says, well, there's one side that just says, this sucks. And you're like, well, that's kind of petty. But when they point out something that you might have been a little wishy-washy on to begin with, and you're like, well, somebody else picked up on it too, and that's when they kind of get in there. And
but I think you have to make peace with your decisions, and I think that's the big kind of bird's eye view of the whole thing. You have to go with my time, with my assets, with my resources, with my finances, with with the ticking time bomb that is each one of these projects, a record, a score, a movie, a tour, did I make the right decisions along the way? You know, and then I can say yes in this place, no in that place, yes in this, no in that. But ultimately, I have to be okay with it to get it out there. So I have to give it my stamp of approval.
So getting the tour together, sitting down with Gene and everybody, how nice was it to kind of get back in a room with everybody, jamming the songs out, kind of figuring out does the imagery match up with the songs properly, and getting all the count-ins for Gene, things like that, everything come together smoothly? Yeah,
everything does, and this is something that it's not like any other band where you can kind of like change your set list from night to night. We have to think about this months in advance, and we have to animate new parts for the new songs for the new record months in advance. I have to have a budget for that. I have to think, financially. I have to think about time. I have to think about what we can play together, what we can't, all that stuff. And so it's nothing like anything else. And also, my editor is almost like a drum programmer because I want my cuts to kind of match the rhythms of the songs, and we go pretty fast. And when Gene's in there, things are going nuts. So, so we really have to like set that stuff up way in advance, and then get back with Gene and Brian Beller and Neely Brosh, and they are amazing musicians. We're lucky enough to have them be playing with us. But this is like our 2019. We came back for the first time in a long time and did a one-off, which is really hard to do with this crazy thing, which is very articulated from lots of bells and whistles, lots of little switches and things and little magic moments that have to happen. It's really nice to be able to have a show that you can keep on kind of like trying to have the perfect show every single night.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you able to tweak it out on the road at all, or is it?
Yeah, minimally, and I think in the future, should we keep doing this stuff, I would definitely like make sure that we could tweak it and switch it up a little bit more.
Well, and I do think that's the question. I mean, what's the future now? I mean,
what is the future? Good question. What's the future? Nobody knows. We're getting offers to do some cool stuff. We'll see, if it makes sense for us, but it's, I don't know. I think, we don't do this that often. Come and see us now, because get it while it's hot. That's what I say, because who knows if we're going to do it again. I really enjoy doing this. There's a writer's strike, there's an actor's strike. Yeah. This is something I can do right now, and I really enjoy doing it. To me, doing a live show like this, doing vocals and doing guitars is a really good brain puzzle for me, and I like a good brain puzzle, and it's a good challenge. So I accept the challenge. I really like doing it, and if there's a future for it, then that's great. That's great because I like it. It's a fun job.
Yeah, you're the only person I think that can really speak on this that's been on the show all weekend long. With the writer's strike and everything going on, do you know what you can and cannot do at this point?
I mean, I have a pretty good idea. But I also, when I think about this whole thing, I just agree with the writers and I agree with the actors, and I think it's time for the Producers Guild to come to the table. It's time for the streamers to come to the table, because right now is that time that's very much like Napster 20 years ago, where musicians let a lot of things just kind of slide away. They let a lot of their people had to stop being musicians because of Napster. People had to stop. Spotify still doesn't pay that much, all that stuff is I see. That's why I don't really take that much stock in if people don't buy records anymore, then what are we doing? Selling T-shirts? I don't care about T-shirts. I care about music, and I care about movies and stories. So that's another thing is do I want to be a T-shirt salesperson the rest of my life, or do I want to go and make movies and stuff? So that's something I have to think about, because people don't buy music. We are selling vinyl. That's something you can buy. I always buy my own records. I don't go to the streaming places or any of that stuff. And 20 years ago, and who knows, maybe this whole SAG-AFTRA WGA thing will open up the doors to a bigger conversation for musicians to maybe get a little bit of power back and get their money back, because it's our job, and this is a crazy way to make a living. Yeah. But I also see why people really want it, because there's nothing like it,
Awesome. And the last question, when you're playing a festival set like tonight, did you have to tweak the set at all, or are you able to play the full show?
We have a shorter show just because that's our timeline, so we have to get smart about how we're tweaking it, and so we have to do a little shorter version. But we pack a lot of songs into a short amount of time. That's something Gene is driving. Is you just blast beat it for 4 minutes straight, and the next song is a lot of blast beats and just bonkers stuff. Can you do it? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it.
He's the atomic clock, man.
I know. Seriously. Meanwhile, I'm doubling over, wheezing, spitting out Nathan Explosion's vocals and trying to do Squiz Car's guitar parts.
Yeah, so. The last thing too is when the Louder Than Life set times were announced. You guys were playing parallel to Pantera.
Yes.
And I've never seen so many people in the comment section complain about something,
yes,
and it get changed so fast. Like they updated the set times.
I didn't even see the comments of that thing, but I was complaining about it because I was like, I want to go see Pantera.
Exactly.
I don't want to be like missing Pantera.
Right.
And also, I think we all, Pantera, here they are, back from so many years, and here we are, and I don't want to make the audience choose. I would much rather go on during daylight hours and kind of like not do the actual show at full length than interrupt that.
Right.
I think it's the right move.
Well, once again, guys, Brendon Small, Dethklok, Metalocalypse, always easy to say.
Nicely done.
Here at KNOTFEST.com, new pod, Louder Than Life 2023. Thanks, Brendon.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.